Sam, shut up, hold on, drivers, start your engine!
Here we are then, we're just leaving the hotel at a rather ungodly hour, and it is as dark as hell, you wouldn't believe. And with that being the case, we're at Manchester Airport. We travelled over from Doncaster last night, and we're just about to jump on a minibus down to the airport. Well, we're actually on the airport, but it's just down to the terminal. And from there we'll have breakfast, do all the security stuff and get on the flight. And we're some 12 hours from the States, so we'll see you when we get there. So we've made it now, we're having breakfast and we're at table 101, how convenient. But with that, we're just settling in for the flight and we'll see where we go. Here we are, folks, we made it to Orlando. You can see the fun fair in the background. It's not really a fun fair, that's International Drive. I'm out on the balcony of the hotel at the minute, overlooking the car park. You can see our car down there. There it is. And it's really nice, it's really pleasant. The weather's great. The weather for the weekend is looking a bit ropey. Maybe Sunday's going to be treacherous. Lots of rain, but we'll see how it goes. We'll see you then. And this was us driving down to Tampa, and on the way we chose to stop off at a few places, and we started to think about how not to advertise where we actually were, because we went to visit the home of the Boosted Boys and Cleetus's old shop where he used to work with a team called Faster Proms and a guy called Jeremy, who for uncertain times has stopped posting so much on YouTube. But it was a great place to go and see, and for all those reasons we haven't posted or shown where we actually are. They're all genuine, because these guys don't want you turning up on the doorstep. There's the photograph of the Boosted Boys place, and it was lovely to go and see, but they weren't there, of course. They were down at the Motorsports Park down at Bradenton, and from there we headed off to Clearwater, the particular place where Cleetus used to be, where everything started. And again, we don't advertise where it is, we just show some photographs of the front. And I didn't actually do a burnout in the burnout circle just outside the front, but there were so many videos down there and it was great to see it. We did trip along to the drag strip that's just round the corner. And the next part of the journey, once we'd got the cameras sorted in the right place, was to go over the Skyway Bridge. But if anybody knows about the Skyway Bridge, it was struck by a boat in 1980 and the bridge collapsed. That was the bridge that was off to the right hand side, which has been dismantled, and this thing's been built and it's absolutely stunning. And the weather was just glorious, and that's how I got quite so sunburned. But with that, it was very quickly into Bradenton. As you come off the back end of the bridge, it's only 20 minutes and we were there. We stopped off at Publix, got some snacks, used the facilities, because those facilities just on the right there were rubbish. However, we made it to Bradenton, straight into meeting the Boosted Boys. There's Kyle and Wade. And then the Tota home, just absolutely stunning. And Cleetus arrived and we met Alan. Alan is Cleetus's manager, and he actually managed to get us a chance to actually have a little private 2 minutes with Cleetus, and we wished him well with the new baby Ripper, and all the best to Maddie. But he's stunning, he's a big lad. The next part of the video concerns a very quick bit with Brent from PFI, and Jared from Wrench Every Day, and these two cars went head to head later on at the eBay Motor head to head. These guys have been running these two cars against each other, and there he is, there's the car, and there's the MR2 from Boosted Boys on the left. But you'll see that video later, just as the guys got together and went head to head, which became the first round of 3, and they're going to finish it off at Sick Week over in February next year, which will be fantastic. And Cooper arrived. You already saw him in the photographs just now, but he decided to take his car off the trailer, and then we managed to get a bit of footage of this beast. You'll see this one later. It's stunning. Sounds absolutely lovely, and for once my camera got the best of the sound, so we'll see how that goes when we record this. We then got to see Cooper and the Side by Side blog, Cooper doing the intro to his video.
Well, guys, we're out here at, what do they call this? The Cleetus and Cars drag race? The street car shootout, Cleetus and Cars race. Got the car out here, just warmed it up. We're going to see what we can do out here. There's some heavy hitters so far, but I don't know how we're looking. But pretty heavy. Oh, dang.
And with that, there was a couple of things to do before they started racing. So Side by Side blogs 2J, you can see they were taking the mickey out of Cooper there, but for all the right reasons. Boosted Boys burnout car was there, just parked off to the side. You can see him, the cars behind. Whilst it's their first ever V8 swap, there's been some work going into that. You can see it. It's not the most tidy of kit. Look, see the dashboard hanging out the car. Then with a couple of hours of daylight left before things were going on, there was a bit of testing, tuning going on. We got to walk round. You can see the Freedom Factory helmet there in the background. Stunning thing to see. But this wasn't about the Freedom Factory today. This was about Bradenton Motorsports Park. And the only issue I had was there was music absolutely everywhere. So where the footage I tried to use, I actually referred to just using the photographs for the day. And then we got into the test and tune lot, which unknown drivers, unknown cars, you just had to see what it was, and there were some real good performers in this. Whilst it was test and tunes, these guys have got the street cars and they're paying $40 to run as much as they could all night. And with that I try and talk over the music just to block it out a bit so you can actually get to see it. There's only a couple of spots where there's some well-known music that I might have to just try and do a little bit with. As these guys line up on the lights. Some cars were much better than others, and in the distance there, the Freedom Factory. And my camera doesn't pick up the time, so I apologise. It's not a camera, it's a phone. As I said, some cars way better than others. Some cars well more noisy than others as well. Some cars went round and round quite quickly doing laps. Come round again. And as I said, very quickly to come round again and retake the track. The car on the left was the Mustang that won the first race, then the Corvette won the second. Let's see how they go head to head. And the Mustang decides to treat it as a true test and go off slower, or go off later, but try for an equally good time. Not every head-to-head was a race.
Chinese good. 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, you've got cars. Race 11, 12 on the left side.
not every car was a quick car either, as said previously. What we did notice at this point was it was starting to get really cold. There was a wind blowing in from the left hand side of the screen, and it was hitting us smack in the face. And as it got darker, the following day at the Freedom Factory was a burnout day. And the burnout drivers had got there the night before and decided that they were going to run head to head with their burnout cars. So you'll get to see quite a few of those, and some were very, very noisy and very, very frightening. Like so. And this is where we just hope the engine revs obscure the music so we don't have to get the sound cancelled, which would be a shame. Hopefully the music doesn't play long enough to cause an issue. And Cooper Baghetti versus Side by Side blog. This is the 2J stretched Razor versus Cooper's Camaro F-body. And a very distinctive tune plays in the background. Just unfortunate that we are stood right beneath the speaker. But there we have it. And if we watch Cooper's car in particular, you'll start to see why he didn't run much more tonight. You'll see his exhaust port just over his front wheel. And he actually lost a cam following cut. You'll see it blow. There it is. You see the sparks coming out the top. That's actually bits of his engine flying out. And he realised very quickly that he wasn't going anywhere. Down a cylinder, and he got beaten by a very slow 2J side by side. That looks like a flex body Mustang. Something that Cleetus is just working on. It's not his car, that's a burnout car, but ultimately very soon to appear on Cleetus's channel is his Fox body. What I was amazed to see is this was my first time going to a drag event of any form, and it was just quite amazing how quickly the cars cycle through. 10-second run, a 20-second burnout and lineup, and they were very quickly onto the line, staging up and getting down the track. And most of the cars were doing within the 10-second bracket. And this is where we stood on top of the stands, and we got the view forwards onto the track, and we could look behind and see where everybody was. Down below you can see where Cooper's car is. He's there looking at his engine and trying to understand what's going on. And you've got Cleetus and PFI just in front of us there now, and then round onto the track. And we were there from approximately 5 PM till 11 o'clock at night, and those stands started to fill up when they opened them in a few minutes. It wasn't long before they were full of people, and the main event started, which was the streetcar shootout with most of your known YouTubers. Well, this is one of the other main events for the day. This is PFI on the far lane, a wrench every day, or as it's known now, the questionable garage. The car on the far lane, the Freedom Civic, was actually with a guy called Tavarish, who originally ran wrench every day. That went to Cleetus, then to Boosted Boys, then to PFI Speed, who it's with now. The car on the near side is a Lexus, which was originally with B is for Build, and that got, again, B is for Build gave it to Tavarish, who's then passed it on to Gerard from Questionable Garage, and they've been giving him a lump of money from eBay Motors to run head to head. They've both run test hits, and this was the culmination of their video, which you'll see on their channels shortly. Winner takes all, effectively. Both cars are very capable 9-second cars, but they'd run test hits and proved themselves, and then they just weren't able to replicate the same thing again. And as I alluded to there, Gerard won that, but you'll see that on their channels. And then we got the opening rounds of the streetcar shootout. So the car on the left, the white Challenger, is it a Challenger? Don't know, can't see in the light, against an R35. The R35 with benefit four-wheel drive, winning the first round of the streetcar shootout. The guys had stood out the front and drawn their tickets, their lots. The event was being run by Jack Stan Jimmy, and with a lot of things, a lot of the guys were up there on the line helping the guys set up, and it was a very homely and friendly event. And the commentator got into winding people up as well and giving his opinion, and you might hear some of that. That Fox body showing what it's capable of. He just lifted halfway down, he knew he'd got that. And Brent from PFI, not Brent, it's Jamie from PFI Speed in the red Honda. That engine in that car, it's purely front wheel drive, but it's done all season and it's performed really well for him, pulling a personal best at this run. I'll see if we see it as we go down the line, and I'll let you know what it was. For a front wheel drive car, it's pretty good. As he goes through the line, he loses first round, but he pulls an 820, an 820, which for him's a PB, and he was very, very happy. So in the near side lane we have Parker, which is Cleetus's or Garrett's older brother. He's the dentist driving Dr. Pepper, and we have Kevin from KSR driving Soccer Mom. Parker's a very capable drag racer, not as good as his brother, but he's very capable, and he gave up on that one as he saw KSR go flying off. A 740, fastest run of the night. And here's one of my favourites, Uncle Chet in his 10-second Camaro versus, I believe it's 316 speed in a Lamborghini. Uncle Chet, probably one of the funniest guys you've found on YouTube, in my opinion. Him and JH Diesel are just a pair of clowns together, and I do enjoy their videos. Uncle Chet, he bought that car at an auction for like 10 grand the week before. It gets out the hole quite well, but it's not the most capable. But look, it's a 9-second car. It's under 10 seconds. It's beautiful. For what it is, for what he paid, that's got a long way to go. And here's Cleetus, the first time out for the night. He was extremely busy, running backwards and forwards. He's in Ruby here against an unknown to me. I don't know who the S2000 owner is. An impressive wheelie in the far lane. As I say, Cleetus had been put in. Cleetus and the team had been put in a new engine into Leroy 2.0. So we've seen Cooper run earlier. He's come back round to try and give it another go. But in this case, he wasn't actually running a lap. As I said there in the background, he's got a bye run, so he just brought it to the line, and he was just trying to understand what's going on with the car. And as I believe it happened with the Timelight event, there's Jack Stan Jimmy lining them up on the line. He's just going to click it down the lane and just see if there's any issues. He didn't give it quite as much, but you can see there's no There's no terminal speed there. He runs a 9. But it was an unchallenged, and he was just trying to find out. 759. I said 759, but what is a 9?
It's a brand new engine though, isn't it?
So as suggested,
It's the dark block.
they've been putting the dart block in, and Cleetus was backwards and forwards all evening trying to get these cars out the garage. We went up onto into the stands. And at the time there was only Ruby parked outside the front, but Neighbour arrived, Leroy arrived, as you can see, and a couple of the other cars came across purely to go and show so people could see him. We didn't see Mullet didn't come out. And then that was the conclusion of the rounds of the streetcar shootout, and we went back to the test and tune and the burnout guys. And as one truck takes off down the lane, it's a little bit of a worry for the guy who owned the other truck, and as always is a bit of a concern when one of the guys pushing the car backwards picks up bits and pieces off the track. At least there's no liquid. It's a shame. Yeah, he looks down and you can see him start to pick nuts and bolts up. So at the worst that can be, or at the best that can be, it's just a failed prop shaft or a gearbox linkage or something, because as he went to lift the clutch or took his foot off the brake, it just cut out. Now you've seen the van run before, but the death trap on the near side, my god, no, not for me. It needs some suspension work, that thing. For that, as the commentator said, that was extremely scary. And then we had Leroy Cleetus versus the side-by-side blog in the 2J. There were some good matches through the night, so there've been some banter and some $500 and $1,000 bets. Heads up on the line who's going to be fastest and first. So if you were there and you were involved around the trailer with the banter, you'd have heard it and seen it. It was really quite funny. It was one of those things, though, I think, where you had to be there. And as you can see, the stand on the far side did start to fill up, but it was cold. So what happened there was they'd got the wrong tree. You've got a pro tree and you've got like a standard tree, and they put the pro tree on, which, if you understand the way it works, and it wasn't too clear to me, but when you get the two yellows, you get the first stage, second stage light. When you've both got the second stage, it will fall down in a rhythmic order, so it'd just go 3 lights, yellow, 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 green. With the pro tree it doesn't. It could be an average, it could be a variable time. So Cleetus went off at the point where you'd think it went down to the normal standard 1, 2, 3 go. It wasn't. So they agreed to change the tree, and they were going to run head to head again. And that was really as good as Leroy got all night, because he was literally, that was his 3rd run since coming out of the garage from a new engine, and he'd probably got 3 runs a couple of days before. And what they have found subsequently is the rear axle wasn't greased correctly so that the suspension would lift and rise, so it was wheel spinning with every gear change. This Chevy Nova in the near side lane is an impressive car, but no real match for a fully tuned R35 Skyline. An absolutely stunning car. But the Nova no embarrassment, does very, very well. Back in the streetcar shootout again. Two J versus F body. And with that, as we start to come towards the end of the video, there wasn't much of an evening left. It got really, really cold. A lot of people left. And as you can see here, the actual winner of the event came round for an uncontested pass. It literally was a bye run. Then it was semi-finals. And then we had the event of the evening, which was a little side bet between the Boosted Boys and Cleetus. The MR2 versus Leroy 2.0. Head to head, fastest MR2 in the world versus Leroy 2.0, World Cup winning car. Both stick shift, both with a very similar top speed, 180 mile an hour. Both very, very close cars. But ultimately, Cleetus having wheel spin issues, and Kyle runs to the finish uncontested, really. But and then he, for the next 10 minutes when they got back to the top, he certainly rubbed it in. And knowing that we've been in the last closing minutes of the video, won't be much drag racing left. There was Kyle's time against Cleetus's. Left and right line is 7.889. Chet runs one more time. And I didn't do an outro, so we've got a couple of photos left because it was just all music for the little clips. But we did get to see JH Diesel, who a lot of people say you'll see lots of him on the next video where we do the Le Mullets video. But then there was Emilio from Emilio's World, who was a Boosted Boy. Uncle Chet. You got Jack Stand on the right there. You got the side by side blog guys, Kyle, Wade. And for somebody who's into YouTube and seeing these guys interact, it was great to be stood there and see it. There we go, Leroy 2.0 and Kyle's MR2. There's Emilio. And it was good fun. It was just great to be there. Thank you very much, folks, for watching. We'll see you on the next one. Take care.